This is very concerning. And what I'm referring to is this right here. Nicholas Jordan Wagter, a man who was detained, certified as mentally incapable, mentally insane. They have a law in Canada where you can just certify someone without much involved at all. There's supposed to be some kind of assessment, but he was looked at from across the room at a coffee shop and certified. And there's a lot to it. You should really look at the video down there in the pinned comment, the original, if you haven't seen it. But he was detained, and we have not heard a thing since then. Some of you were asking about an update, and I've been trying to get an update, and we'll take a look at that. Also, let's look at the fact check. You got to fact check everything and see if it's real or if it's all fake. We'll come back to that. But you go to his Instagram, and the last post, it seems like he posted something about guns here, but is that morning when he was having breakfast. There's him having breakfast in the psych ward when he was detained against his will. And that is the last post that we see on his Instagram. Doesn't look like he's active on his Twitter at all. October 2025. So nothing there. You do a search for his name, and you're not going to get anything recent. All these things are 6 days ago, 7 days ago. If I want to say, well, how about the past day? And not finding anything. So that's very concerning because they probably took away, of course, his phone, his ability to post, and completely silenced him. And or maybe he was, I mean, if he hasn't posted anything, if he was let out, which he's supposed to be within 48 days, 48 hours, that's how long they can hold him. But if he had anything done against his will, which is, all of the things that they can do all kinds of things against his will, drug him against his will, force him into suicide, the assisted suicide, murder. They can murder him, and Canada has laws on the book, the MAID Act, the Mental Act. I forget what it stands for, but basically they take people in and they murder them, and they have an excuse that they give for it after the fact. It's actually happening in Canada, and it's wicked, and it's absolutely wicked. So Vancouver man's arrest prompts claims about Canadian mental health laws. Here are the facts. Rumors spread amid a legitimate debate in Canada about potential civil liberty violations through involuntary psychiatric care. In Canada, so the claim, in Canada, police officers can arrest a person if a psychiatrist labels the person as insane based solely on observing the person in a public place. Well, that's what happened. I don't know anyone making that claim. They're making the claim that someone can be certified for something very minimal. You can look and see that according to the actual law, there has to be some kind of an assessment, but that's not what happened with him, and you can assume that's not what's happening with a lot of people. So they're rating mixture. What's true? All Canadian, and I walked through this in the previous video too, all Canadian jurisdictions, like I went to the actual law, all Canadian jurisdictions have laws with varying criteria that essentially allow police to involuntarily admit people for psychiatric assessment and care if they are deemed to a threat to themselves or others by a medical professional. And just basically, if they're saying, well, you're a threat, then we will go ahead and lock you up because we don't like you. We don't like the truth that you are saying. What's false? A psychiatrist cannot order the forced treatment of anyone by simply deeming them insane. The person must pose a risk to themselves or others and meet specific additional criteria. Well, that there's a difference between the law and how the law is enforced, and this is also pretty subjective, and it's all dependent upon a doctor a quote unquote a doctor. So someone with specific credentials, and then that person gets to function as a tyrant, which vary in each jurisdiction. Furthermore, the physician must go through a process outlined by that jurisdiction's law, which often involves more than simply observing a person in a public space. Context: the claim originated from a video posted by a man who alleged that Vancouver police unlawfully arrested him under British Columbia's Mental Health Act and involuntarily committed him to a psychiatric facility. The video came after the man shared a conspiracy theory. I have to laugh every time I hear how people label things conspiracy theory, but a conspiracy theory written document claiming, okay, so he walked in to a school, he gave them a document, and he labeled, I walked through in the previous video, just all of the things that are very authoritarian. He didn't even say it's becoming like China. He said these laws, if they go into effect, are not going to be safe for children, not going to be safe for this and that, because they're very authoritarian in their content, the content of the law. So that in itself is just simply pointing out facts. You could say it's an opinion, but it's facts. It's an interpretation of the law. So claiming that China and corrupt Canadian government were trying to turn Vancouver into a Chinese dictatorship police state. Well, very clearly that's what's happening. You can disagree with that happening, with that is what's happening. You can agree that is what's happening, and we'll lock you up. No, I mean, sorry, we won't lock you up in a free country. All right, so in May 2026, a claim spread online that law enforcement officials in Canada can arrest people for mental health issues by order of a psychiatrist. The allegation circulated on X and Facebook, and alongside a video of a man who filmed himself being pulled over by Vancouver's mental health police. Here's how one popular post framed the claim. This is utterly insane. In Canada, a psychiatrist can just look at you in a public place, sitting on a bench, or eating a sandwich, or walking down the sidewalk, and they can certify you as being insane. And the police will arrest you and take you to psychiatric evaluation. No rights, no law, no due process, no defense. The psych doctors are the ones who are insane, and government authoritarians, of course. And that is exactly what happened to this man. He had no due process. He was certified just from a look. So this is the man that said that, sharing this. And there's the video. I went through all these videos in my previous video. So this claim needs context. They're saying different everything. Okay, so what's the context that would change what happened? Different provinces in Canada have different laws for allowing involuntary psychiatric treatment. So this needs context. Not all provinces are Chinese communist states. Not all provinces are authoritarian. Some are more than others. Okay, got it. Yep, that's good context. Different provinces in Canada have different laws for allowing involuntary psychiatric treatment with varying criteria. Okay, some are more authoritarian than others, just like I said, but they all boil down to requiring that the patient pose a risk to themselves or others. Again, very subjective, and all solely at basically how much the government doesn't like what they're saying, or how much a doctor doesn't like what they're saying. As Vancouver is part of British Columbia, the city falls under British Columbia's Mental Health Act, and that's the seriously insane act. In an email, Megan Liu, a spokesperson for the Vancouver Police Department, confirmed that the man in the video was, quote-unquote, apprehended because of a, quote-unquote, mental health Form 4 warrant, meaning a physician certified him for an involuntary admittance for up to 48 hours. And so this warrant, this Form 4 warrant, was based on a look at him in a coffee shop, according to his account. And there did not seem to be a disagreement with that account. I don't think it's fair to speak about the details of this incident, she goes on, as it's mental health related, Liu added. You can speak about the details of due process. As such, it's true that under certain circumstances, police may apprehend a person for involuntary care by order of a physician. However, the patient must meet narrower criteria than the claim implies, and the physician must examine the patient, usually through a formal meeting. Thus, we have rated this claim a mixture of truth and falsehood. The video of the man identified a truth and, well, what's false? Point out what's false. The video of the man identified on Instagram as Nicholas Jordan Wagter came shortly after he released a conspiracy theory-laden document on social media claiming the Chinese. Okay, they already said all that. Okay, this is just going on and on. It's kind of lengthy. I don't need to go through all of it because it's lengthy, and we don't need to do all that. You won't hang around for it probably. So go ahead and hit like on this video, subscribe, continue to pray for him, continue to draw attention to this. Very concerning, very, very concerning. Thanks for watching Adam's Analysis, where we interact with different things that are going on of important matter and bring it from a Christian perspective and conservative Christian perspective. Take a look down in the channel trailer. Take a look down in the pinned comment, and I've got a channel trailer to find out more about the channel. God bless.